So if you guys want to go to the store and you end up picking up a few little things of deodorant, bring them in here and we can drop them off to BAM, kind of like a mission donation thing. So that's something we're ongoing. You guys can continually do that whenever you want. We do have youth tonight, 6 to 7:30. So I encourage you guys to join us, and make sure you guys are checking out Facebook. Make sure you guys, if you guys have access to this stuff, make sure you guys check out Twitter, all those different social media platforms, and make sure you guys sign up for texting too. It's 41411, and you type the word refuge, R3fuge, and it gets you all the updates and things like that. Because I had a $10 bill to give away to somebody who sent me a selfie. No one sent me a selfie. So see, you missed out. So make sure you guys find somebody who has that and can convey the message, or get on that stuff for yourself too. Yes, Aiden. Oh, I'm going to use it now. So, but your sister does, and she can tell you these things. But you got to ask her. Well, tell your parents to sign up for the texting. But I'm just saying future stuff. Make sure you guys. Is he on there? Okay. You're still listening. Ouch. All right. So you guys might see some stuff up here. We're starting a new series called Status Update, and we're taking a look at. We're using social media as a kind of like a platform or a backdrop to discovering how God defines us and who we are in Christ. And today, you kind of highlighting Instagram type of thing, and we're going to look at image. And of course, you guys will see this up here, and I'm going to get to that towards the end, so it's a surprise. So today we're going to go through a 4-week series called Status Update that is going to look at how to discover how God defines you guys, and who you are in Christ. And obviously, using social media like this is kind of very relatable to you guys. It's able to connect to you guys. You might have to cancel the other PowerPoint. Yeah, there you go. So today, like I said, we're talking about image. And the thing about today's culture is that image almost is really important. Like, it's overly important. Everyone emphasizes image. Everyone tries to look at that. You guys ever post unflattering images of yourself? Yeah, just follow that. Just follow as I go. Just follow the PowerPoint. You guys, does anybody post unflattering images of yourself? Oh, challenge accepted. So let me ask: have you guys ever taken a selfie or picture of yourself and you realize, nope, that ain't gonna happen? And so you redo it again, right? All right. Okay. That seems more like the thing, right? When you post pictures, you want them to be perfect, or as near as perfect as you possibly can, right? So that's why they add filters. Do you guys get excited when, all these different, whether it's Instagram or something, add new filters? Ooh, look at this new filter, right? Do you ever post anything that doesn't have a filter?
Yes. My face is the filter.
Honestly, guys, I want you guys to be honest. Don't just say stuff because you think it makes yourself look cool. That's not a good image. So when you guys do this stuff, whether it's on Instagram or things like that, you're going to take and retake. You're going to add this filter. You're going to do whatever you can to make yourself look as perfect as possible, right? I got a video for you guys to see. I think you guys are going to kick out of this. It's got audio too, Luke, so if it plays. Might have to click on it. Just give it a minute, guys.
Listen, back in the day, it used to take like an hour for the computer to come on, okay?
You click on it. Go back and try it again. So you see there, this is a dad secretly filming her daughter. So be careful what you do in the car because your parents could be mean. So this is a girl, right? She's taken, and she might be trying to be goofy, but at the same time, she's taken how many selfies do you take? You know what I mean? And you can imagine how many filters she's trying to add to these and trying to pick the right one, whatever one she wants to do, right? So, but here's the thing, and you guys might not know this, but selfies have been around a long time. So I got some funny pictures of selfies being around for a long, long time. There's several of them there. See, look at him. That's camera. See, look at that. So selfies have been around. It's a fancy hat, I think. So selfies have been around for a long time, and you see, in all of us, it seems that we desperately want to project an image of something that we're not, right? I mean, sometimes we want to put forth this perfect image, you know. And once again, that's why you look at these things like Instagram who have filters and stuff, because you're trying to put forth a perfect image. And a lot of this, of course, is physical, the outside appearance, but it seems like you want to be able to do that. Something that you're not, you want to put forth that. So, and there's even apps that help you enhance your image, right? So show some of those. There's even apps that help you enhance your image. The same one for this next guy right there, yeah. I mean, right? Look at that. Is that believable? You think it's believable? So go to the next one. See, I mean, you can go, and this is like a Google search of like the selfie help book. So it's like, you know, there's different things to try to help you enhance to make yourself a perfect looking image when you post on there. Click the next one. See this one here? It's like taking all the different points, airbrushing, fake Instagram perfection, right? I mean, and people, I mean, not saying you guys in here, but you guys as a culture. You guys as people that are currently in all this stuff, there's people out here that do that. They're trying to enhance their image and put forth this best picture. 65% of people believe that sharing flattering images of themselves will increase their self-confidence. 53% say that unflattering images decrease their self-confidence. 80% of girls and 56% of guys compare themselves as celebrities, which means that the majority of us are comparing ourselves to perfect photoshopped images that don't represent reality. So it's no wonder that self-image is a struggle for so many people. And this self-image of physical is just the gateway. Because as we try to make this self-image of the outside, we're also trying to fake the image we have on the inside. Because a lot of times this image that we're going to talk about today isn't just physical. I mean, it starts there, but it also goes inside as well. So you know, the sad truth is that we want to project this perfect image. We want people to see what we want, and we want to be liked. We want to gain popularity, and you do that through what you try to project, what you try to put out there, what you try to make visible for people to see. So here's a couple of questions for you guys to kind of dwell on. Write them down, whatever you got to do to kind of put them to memory. What image do you see when you look in the mirror? Who is that person in the reflection? How do you see yourself? How do you think others see you? And I guarantee you, you're tougher on yourself than what other people say, and what other people are. Right? I guarantee you, when you think these questions through, what do others see? You're going to be tougher on yourself than other people. I got another little video to show you to kind of go along with that. Might have to play with it again.
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board.
We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
It kind of protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a good jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature?
Kind of a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I would say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
So here we go. This is a sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's... She looks closed off and fatter. Sadder, too. The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy. I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. Couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right. And we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
So, you see, it's kind of almost, I don't want to say proven, but I mean, for a sketch artist, forensic sketch artist like that, that's the test he kind of put. And people were harder on themselves than other people. And you notice too that I'm sure we don't know these individuals who did this. We don't know how their life is, but whether they're having a great life or not, a lot of times their image, they're kind of almost broken on the inside. And so that's why when they see the two different things, they're like, wow, people see, that's how they see me? The reason why it upsets them so much and the reason why they proclaimed what they think is because they're almost broken on the inside. They're almost hurting on the inside, or they have the wrong perception of themselves on the inside. And so that's why they try so hard to change this perfection on the outside, because they want to change that. They want that to fix. So how do you see you? How do you see you? And how do others see you? Do you think people, other people are to see you differently than you see yourself? And that might be not something you think consciously on a day-to-day basis. But I encourage you guys to take a moment to think of that. Do I see myself the way maybe other people see me? And if not, then there you go. Now you kind of know your answer. But more importantly, here's a question that's most important, is how does God see you? How does God see you? If you don't know how God sees you, then let's find out. That's something you need to figure out, because that's most important, is how does God see you? Image is very important to God, but it's not necessarily in the same way or the same sense as we think. God has a bigger picture of what image is. He doesn't just look at a single moment captured in one frame. It's much more significant than that, because he looks past the physical. He looks deeper. He looks wider. He looks farther. So we're going to look back at some scripture here, and we're kind of going to start off back at the beginning of the creation. Right? Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." There's a word in there that cameras can't capture, and that's that word likeness. In our likeness. Cameras can't capture that. There's no God's likeness filter on there. You're not going to find that. Oh, God's likeness filter, awesome. There's not one on Instagram. There's not one on any type of camera app that you can get. So you have that you guys got to understand that we are made to represent God. And like I've been saying, not just physically, but in the likeness, which encompasses all attributes. Not just physical, not just emotional, not just attitude, the whole picture, the whole deal. It goes beyond the simple limitation of appearance. It goes beyond that. God's creation to physical appearance is missing the significance of it. So what does it mean to be created in God's likeness? What does it mean to be made after the likeness of our Father, of our Creator? What does that mean? What does that entail? What does that speak to us about? That's the importance of this. Because being created in God's likeness means that we have a personal relationship with Him. We have a personal connection to Him. And when you have that connection, you have the ability to know Him and love Him more. And the same goes the other way. So you have that personal, intimate connection with Him. John chapter 4, 23-24 says, "Yet a time is coming and has now come when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth. For they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and His worshipers must worship in the Spirit and in truth." So you see, one of the first things here is that God gives us a sense of morality. God's likeness, being created in His image, gives us a sense of morality. I'm going to kind of jump around here quickly. Ephesians 4:24 says, "Put on the new self, created to be like God in the true righteousness and holiness." So he's saying, put on this new self, right? When you guys hear the story, when you share this, when you share the gospel, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to be saved. I'm talking about salvation here. I'm going to accept Jesus Christ in my life. When you make that decision, you're saying, okay, I'm putting my old self away. I'm getting rid of it. I'm putting on this new self. And it's saying here in Ephesians that put on this new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. So put on this new self that is the likeness of God. What you created to be, what you were meant to be, what you were beautifully and masterfully made. You put on this new self. And not just, like I said, not just the image, but it's of righteousness and holiness. That morality, that knowing right from wrong, that sense of good. Put that on. Take off the other junk and put this new stuff on. Morality doesn't come from randomness. We are created in the image of God, which means we are called to be good and to pull good from one another. Why else do you think it's a natural sense of right and wrong? Why else do we have this good and evil? Why else do we have this natural thing of oh, I know that's wrong, oh, I know that's right? Because it comes from God. It comes from the image, the likeness of Him, that righteousness, that holiness. And you see, we also have the ability to love. In 1 John chapter 4, it says, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God." So he's saying, let's love one another, because the love comes from God. We wouldn't have got it any other way. There's no way we would have gotten love from any other source other than God. We definitely didn't get love from this world. That's not possible. If you see the way it is, you see the way it operates, you see the way it works. Yeah, we kind of see love every now and then, but not to the degree of where it originated. If this world gave us love, this world created love, it'd be a totally different world. Do you agree? So that love came from God. It is God. It's the definition of. So he said that for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God, because we are created in His likeness. Part of being created in the image of God is having the ability and the desire to love others. So part of that creation, part of that likeness of having God is not only just to experience love, to feel love, but be able to express love, to share love, to spread that love. That's part of that likeness of God. We have that ability, and I love it too, because we're talking about the desire to. It's one thing to be able to have it, or to have something, or to be in possession of it, but to be able to have the desire to want to use it, or the desire to have it, or the desire to show, that's different. To me, it is. Because you guys gotta want to have a desire to live for Christ. You guys gotta want to have a desire to be here every chance you get. You guys have to want a desire to know Christ, to grow closer, to grow stronger in your faith. You guys have to have a desire. If you don't have a desire, why are you here? Dead serious question. Because God wants serious followers. He wants serious people because we're created in His likeness, guys. He doesn't want us to be fake. He doesn't want us to have this pretend image. We constantly project this perfect image of ourselves and add these filters. Trust me, guys, I tried for years. I was two-faced for many, many, many years. I was two different people. And the people that I loved and cared about, I put on this fake perfection thing, but they don't know that inside I was broken. They don't know that inside I was in this war between what I know to be right, holy and righteous, and the other part of me that was just following the crowd, getting caught up in things I know I shouldn't be. But I was putting forth this image that I wanted to be. But it was wrong, because in the inside I wasn't that way. I had to want a desire to love those people enough to say, okay, I'm done with adding filters. I'm done with pretending to be something I'm not. I'm done trying to project what I want the world to see, and it's time for me to start being that. That's what you guys have to get in your head with yourself. Because when you ask yourself those questions, what do I see? Who do I see? How do others see me? And more importantly, how does God see me? So you gotta have that desire to want to love one another. John 1:1-5 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through Him all things were made. Without Him nothing was made that has been made. In Him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Jesus is the image of the living God. You see, the Word became flesh. The Word became real to us. This is God showing us the perfect image of how He made us. That's why the Word became flesh, to show us. Through Him all things were made, including us. God didn't use selfie apps or filters, right? He didn't use these different types of apps and programs to say, oh, okay, I'm going to change this, modify that. No, He didn't do any of that when He created us. He didn't need them. He was already perfect. He is the light of all mankind. If you want to know who you are and where your value is, look at who Jesus is. Because that Word became flesh to show us, say, hey, here, I'm here. I'm here to show you the likeness of God. Jesus came for a multitude of reasons, God. He came to walk this earth for a multitude of things. And there's so much that we gain from knowing and having Him walk on this earth. Not only did He do the big thing, right? He come to sacrifice Himself so that we can be saved. So that we have the ability to say, okay, God, please forgive me of all the stupid stuff I've done and thought. And I want to live a better life. That's the big thing, right? But the fact that He came, He left the heavenly realm to come down here to be with us, that Word became flesh and to show, here's a perfect example. Here's what you guys are. This is the likeness that I need. And was Jesus, do you think, I mean, we don't, other than the blonde-haired, white guy, Chinese eyes, pictures, paintings we have, do you think Jesus was a really attractive man? I mean, of course, we got to go by standards. You know, what standard are we going by? But if you know anything, you look at the Hebrew people of that time. I mean, maybe he was handsome for Hebrew people, but who knows? I mean, it's hard for us to imagine, people who bathe every couple of weeks or whenever they come by a river, and he's on a mission. He's got other things on his mind. The way he dresses, his Nike sandals aren't important to him. I could probably imagine that he's probably not the most attractive, but it doesn't matter because that image that he's projecting isn't just physical. The image he's projecting is the likeness of God, which entails love, which entails morality, which entails your attitude, the way you act, the way you care for each other, holiness and righteousness and being true and pure. I mean, the list can go on, but it's inside too. And when we as a culture are so focused on the outside, it's because we're damaged on the inside. We think we're in perfection. We're trying to hold our standard to the world. And the world answers that plea that you have by giving you filters, by giving you apps to make yourself better, by giving you tips to say, pretend to be like this. They don't say it that way. They sell it to you really, really smoothly. But that's how the world tries to fix what your need is. But see, God already has the answer. Because He created you in His likeness. And that's what we need to achieve to try to be. He is that light of all mankind. If you really want to know who you are, then you look at Jesus. Your image isn't found in the world, which tells you that you aren't good enough, or that you'll never be good enough. You will never be thin enough, good looking enough, tall enough. Your value is in the one who created you and sent His Son to show you the true image of God. And that's where your true beauty is. That's where it lies, not from the world, but from God. 9-13 says, the true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world and through the world, and though the world was made through Him, the world did not recognize Him. He came to that which was His own, but His own did not receive Him. Yet to all who did receive Him, to those who believed in His name, He gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. You see, Jesus came, this is so mind-blowing, because Jesus came to this world, and it didn't recognize him. Though it was made through him, this world didn't recognize him. Why? Because their standard of what their image they have, Jesus didn't fit. Even though the world was made through him, you think you should be able to recognize me, world, because you're made through me. The world didn't even recognize him. That's why they persecuted him. That's why they hunted him down. He goes to his own people. He goes to people that are like him, his own, and they didn't recognize him because all the religious leaders wanted to kill him. Because the world had this image of what this Son of God is going to be. What they think you need to look like, what you think you need to act like. Jesus didn't fit that, so they didn't recognize him as who he really was. Now, if I am a son of God, or if I am saved by the Son of God, if I'm a Christian, if I'm a soldier for him, if I'm a believer and I obey him, this world needs to not recognize me or recognize me as who I am. I can't walk around fitting the mold of this world and still say, I'm serving Christ. If the world identifies me by the clothes I wear and the haircut that I have and the way I'm supposed to treat and act other people, then I'm going to be recognized by them. I'm falling into that imagery. I'm falling into what they want me and condone is okay. See, I don't want that. I want to stand apart. And that's what makes it so hard for us when we're in a culture that we don't want to stand apart. We don't want to stand out. We want to fit in. We don't want to be rejected. We want to be liked. We want to be popular. And so we do things, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. We do things to make that happen. And when you do that, you're shutting God down. You're refusing Jesus. In a world now more than ever, we need to stand apart and stand in the likeness of our Creator, inside and out. We need to understand and accept the fact that we are wonderfully made in His likeness. So we need to stand apart from that. We need to do that. Like I said, I'm not telling you to go throw on a sheet and go barefoot and grow your beard out. I'm not telling you to do that. Not you, ladies, sorry. Don't grow your beard out. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you to do the physical. I'm talking about the likeness of God, which entails more than just physical appearance. It's living that righteous and holy life, correct? The world didn't recognize him. They had already had a perfect imagery of what that king was supposed to look like. We see that in God's image goes way beyond appearance. Even 2,000 years ago, the expectations of beauty was completely different and completely based on appearance. That's why royalty wore these flowing robes and purple and the type of material. You can distinguish class by what they appeared like. It was almost solely based on a lot of that. The world puts such a high value on what we can see on the outside, but God puts a high value on who we are and whose we are on the inside. God puts high value on who we are and whose we are on the inside. But way beyond appearance, Jesus wasn't a king with riches and crowns and statues and fine clothing. He was humble, loving, serving. His projected image was far beyond what the eyes can see. And that's what the image we need to have. Our image, guys, needs to be far beyond what people physically see. It needs to be far beyond that. It needs to go deeper than that. It even goes further than that. He was humble, he was loving, he was serving. He was all these things. And that is why the world didn't recognize him. Because he was far beyond that appearance. These Pharisees and these religious people and all these people who read Old Testament and knew the prophecy was coming, that God, Jesus is going to he's going to walk this earth, God's going to come back and all. They're looking for this magnificent man with flowing purple, lovely robes and an entourage and servants and riding on this big steed and having all these riches. They're thinking that's the king that's coming to save them. That's the king they're going to come worship. That's their imagery. That's their picture. That's not what they got. They got an almost homeless-looking man riding in on a donkey with 12 losers following him. And broken people who truly do recognize him laying themselves at his feet. See, that did not fit in those leaders' picture of the King of Kings coming. That's why they did not recognize him. We are being transformed in the image of Christ. What does that mean? We think of an image in terms of sight, but the truth is our spirits are immortal and will outlast our earthly physical bodies. Now, Paul speaks of this, speaks of looking into a darkened mirror. In 1 Corinthians 13, he says, "For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." You see, many of us have become comfortable with a false image. We become used to it. We're numb to anything else. We become comfortable with this false image. If we are detached from God, it is easy for us to rely on sinful, imperfect humans to make us feel loved and wanted. Because if God is love and God is a source of love, that's where we receive the most pure love from. And He wants to pour it out onto us, which then we thus turn around and pour on each other. But when you pull yourself away from that, when you keep yourself separate, when you sit away from those type of people in the lunchroom because they're uncool, or you choose to not do that because you're going to get rejected, you're not going to get that love. You're not going to feel that wanting, right? You're not going to feel that need to oh, I belong. And so you find that by other means. You find that by other ways. But see, if you're connected to God, if you're connected to that relationship, and you're going to feel that love, you're going to feel that acceptingness, and you're not going to need to seek it from anything else this world has to offer. I know that sounds like a bigger thing that you can't even imagine. How do I even do that? But you can. By number one, living in the likeness of God that you are. Quit trying to be fake. Quit trying to put on this imagery, this perfect image that you're holding standard by the world. This gives you the mirror you're supposed to look like, guys, inside and out. Not this. And not what social media tells you, not the filters it adds, not what celebrities who are photoshopped in their pictures look like. That's the world telling you. This is how you do that. This is how you feel that love by being that. This is how you get connected to God. Through what the Word says and through what Jesus lived and how He showed in our lives. We don't need to rely on appearance because we want affirmation from others based on how we look. But God is calling us to receive affirmation based on who we are and how we are created in His likeness. Some people will go through great lengths to project a specific image of themselves into the world. That's why we have plastic surgery, enhancements, eating disorders, steroids, implants, facelifts, and the list goes on. I mean, that's why we have all this stuff. Because people are trying to project that. They're trying to find their value in how in those things, so that's how the world sees them. That's how they find them value in themselves. It becomes a competition. How can I look better than the next person? How can I look better than the other person? Psalm 139 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full and well." So see, guys, don't look at yourselves, at your image, and like what most people do, they look at themselves in a tiny mirror. Because God has the biggest mirror, and He says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. That's how God sees you. In His likeness, Fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, fearfully here doesn't mean terrifying. You look terrifying. That's not what it means. It means something different in this context. Fearfully means awesome. Put your hope in the one who made you. Allow God's truth and hope to help you put your trust in Him and know that you are a reflection of His perfect image. So I have a challenge for you guys this morning. How can I live to reflect God's image and not the image of the world? That's a challenge. How can I live to reflect God's image and not the image of the world? And I want to give you guys some time here. What I want you guys to do is I have a bunch of these little mirrors up here and markers. You guys can share a mirror because I know I don't have one for everybody. But I want you to come up here and I want you to take a marker. I want you to write on here, I want you to write, how do you see you? Write that one imperfection that you try to hide. Like I said, it doesn't have to be physical. It can be physical, but don't limit to that either. Think about inside. Think something that you try to hide because you want to fix because you want to project something perfect. How do you see you? And then what I want you guys to do is take the same marker and on this big mirror, don't write on the tape or the paper, write on the mirror. Write what you think God sees in you. What do you think God sees? What do you want God to see? So I want to give you guys a chance. You guys can kind of go up there now and do the little mirror and then do the big mirror. Ready, go. Leave it up there, though. Don't take it back with you. How do you see you? Don't write one imperfection. Write. Don't draw. Write a word of how you see yourself. That one imperfection you want to try to hide or change. And then on the mirror, write what you think God sees you, or what you want God to see you as. Keep that going. Okay. Be quick about it, guys. Just leave them on the table. When you're done with the small mirror and the big mirror, leave the small mirror on the table and then have a seat. When you're done, have a seat. There's a blank one there, but you guys can share. The small one is write what you see in you, like what that one imperfection that you try to hide, that you want to project over. How do you see you? Because the idea is that the little ones, the little mirrors, are kind of the imperfection in yourself that you try to hide, and the big one is the truth that God created, God sees. How God sees you. The real, like, what you want God to see. That's more, the more positive, the more real.
Got it. Yeah, it's like a double thing.
So, you guys wrote on these mirrors all kinds of personal stuff, things that you see in yourself, things that you try to hide, things that you try to project over, so you have this image to other people in the world that you're perfect, that you're exactly what they want you to think you're to be. And these are things that you live with. These are things that you've tried hard to cover up, to try to hide, to try to mask, to try to overcome, but you can't. And the thing about that is that you think that it's bad. You think that it's a negative thing, and you're basing it all upon what the world says, or maybe the wrong people say about yourself. Oops. And then, of course, you guys write on the big mirror what you want God to see in you. So I bundled all that up, and I'm going to tell you exactly what God thinks of this. So this is not you. This is what God sees, guys, because He does not see this. He does not see any of this. This may be what you think you see. This may be what you think others see in you. But this is not what this youth group sees. This is not what God's people sees. It's definitely not what God sees. So like I said, I encourage you guys to stop trying to project the image this world wants you to, inside and out. Instead, I want you to project what God made you, and that He made you in His likeness. He made you to be like Him inside and out, the holy, true, righteous, serving, loving, humbleness. Because that's what this world needs more than ever. That's what your school needs. That's what your community needs. Because it needs to change. It has this terrible image upon what you are supposed to look like. But God says otherwise. And it's time you start living it. It's time you start showing it. And not hide behind filters and apps and fake things, whatever you can, to hide what it is. Because, like I said, a lot of you guys, it's not just physical. Sometimes you're broke on the inside. And you try to project something because you're trying to hide that up. I'm trying to hide that. You're not broken. If you've messed up in your life, okay, God can correct that. If you think that these physical and selfish things or whatever the world proclaims to you makes you broken, God will change your mind. You got to live by this. What he says, what Jesus lived on this earth. He was the Word becoming flesh. Father God, I thank you so much for this morning, Lord. I thank you for who you are, Lord. God, I thank you for Jesus. I thank you for his image that he's given us, Lord. He's given us proof of the likeness that you created us to be. That wonderfully, beautifully made masterpiece, God. And Lord, I pray that these students live that out loud, Lord, so that the world is not afraid to look at them and say, wow, we're wrong and they're right. It's time for us to stand up. It's time for us to be confident and be proud of serving you, Lord. And we can't stop telling people about you, Jesus. And we do that by our actions. We do that by the way that we live. We do that by the light that we spread, Lord, because we are that light in the darkness, God. And I know that every day we struggle. I know every day these students, they feel beaten, they feel battered, they feel like they can't go on, and they can't try to talk to people about you. They feel that they're inadequate because they can't spread your love or because they don't feel it themselves, Lord. That is a false lie because they are truly loved by you and valued. Give them the confidence they need, God, so that they can go out into their communities and they can change the world. They can change their culture. They can change what people perceive them to be. Not as rejects, not as, tall, skinny, short, fat, whatever it is, Lord. They see them as a more powerful figure, a more influential character, a more impactful person than anyone else they've known. And they can spread that to others. Get them to come to your house. Get them to come to their youth group. Get them to come here and experience that themselves, to join in that love that only you provide. Please, Jesus, I pray for these students right now, God. Whatever they deal with, whatever they struggle with, God, you take it from them so that they can be that light to this dying world. And we can fill this youth room. We can fill all the youth rooms around here, Lord, with beautifully, wonderfully image of you, God. I know they have it in them, Lord. I know it's there. Please keep them safe today until we come back tonight to worship you, to have the desire to want to be the likeness of you, Lord, to spread that, to tell the world today, to come to your house tonight, Lord, to experience what love, experience what true joy can be, and that's serving you. Let that desire overflow, Lord. In your Son's name I pray. Amen. I think they're out, guys. So I'll see you guys here tonight.